I won in 2 weeks, I really won. After shouting, now Donald Trump's tone seems to have changed a bit. Now he is upset that no one is coming forward to help America. Those were just threats. He has begun making threats that if you don't help us, I'll deal with you later. What's more, he's even talking about hanging the media in his own country. Because several American media outlets have now officially reported on Trump's defeat. Trump is calling this an act of treason. But on the one hand, while you see Trump ranting and visibly flustered, Israel is quietly continuing to go about its own business. It doesn't seem particularly anxious. While the world's eyes are fixed on Iran, at the same time, a Gaza Part 2 is unfolding in Lebanon. Millions of people have been displaced from their homes. White phosphorus, banned chemicals are currently being used on people. If you look at the attitude of America and Israel in this war, you will see a sharp contrast. America entered this war at Israel's behest, driven by greed for oil and to assert its own dominance. But Israel's endgame is neither oil nor capturing Iran, nor promoting America's supremacy. Israel has its own separate agenda, and it is playing this game very skillfully. For the state of Israel, this is a deeply religious war between Jews and Muslims. At the center of this war lies Jerusalem, which is considered one of the holiest places in the world. In this religious war, you will find many American politicians standing in support of Israel, such as Trump's close ally, Lindsey Graham. Some U.S. leaders prioritize Israel. For them, Israel's victory is more important than their own country.
This is a religious war who stood side by side with the radical Islamic terrorists who want to kill all the Jews because God told them to, who want to kill every infidel, who want to purify Islam by rejecting moderation and turning everyone into jihadis. This is a big deal.
This statement was made even well before the war began. There were serious allegations against Graham that he played a key role in dragging Trump into this war and that he actually received his training in Israel itself. And not just this, but also currently. This is the statement from United States Secretary of War Pete Hegseth from 2018. He had said this during a public event in Jerusalem, emphasizing that there is no logical reason why a temple cannot be rebuilt on the historic Temple Mount.
No reason why the miracle of the reestablishment of the temple on the Temple Mount is not possible. I don't know how it would happen. You don't know how it would happen. But I know the Qudhab Nexit.
Here, they are talking about the third temple, a biblical prophecy that is highly anticipated by many Jews. Now, it seems. But at the very place where the Jews' most sacred first and second temples once stood, today stands the Al-Aqsa Mosque, which is considered the third holiest site in Islam. It's not just about building a temple. Just 1 week before the U.S.-Israel attack on Iran, when America's ambassador to Israel, Mike Huckabee, was asked whether he supports Israel's claim, which involves land stretching from the Nile River to the Euphrates River. The matter is about Israel's control. So he replied that, according to the Holy Bible, this specific land was divinely given to Israel. Such a statement points directly towards the concept of Greater Israel. But Greater Israel is not just a simple Zionist fantasy. It's not just an intention. This is an active project that Netanyahu has been working on for years. The attack on Iran, the massacre that happened in Gaza, the ongoing occupation in Lebanon, the terror in the West Bank, all of these are living examples of this project. So if you want to fully understand the war with Iran, you have to understand Israel's intentions. It is essential for people to truly understand the game and what is really going on behind the scenes in our world today. War is being created and how Israel has been quietly working on this project. The concept of Greater Israel was first explored by Theodor Herzl, who is also known as the father of political Zionism. The most expansionist version of this idea is actually found in the book of Genesis in its first chapter. In this chapter, God made an everlasting covenant with Abraham, in which it is said that his descendants were promised a vast land stretching all the way from the Nile River to the mighty Euphrates River. From the Nile to the Euphrates, in today's date, this area includes the following regions: Palestine, Lebanon, along with Jordan, Syria, Iraq, Egypt, and parts of Saudi Arabia are considered to be among the lands of Abraham's descendants, Abraham's land promise. The tribes of Israel are considered to be the descendants of Abraham's son Isaac. But according to this, Abraham's other son, the descendants of Ishmael, are also included in this, meaning the Arabs, because Ishmael is considered the forefather of the Arabs. However, most Jews consider this their own right. A few other verses in the Bible also touch upon this same concept. But in those, the territorial scope is a bit less clear. For those who believe in it, Greater Israel is just a political or expansionist project. For these people, it is not merely a matter of a political project, but is instead seen as a divine mandate, a sacred mission to reclaim territory which, according to their historical and religious perspective, was always rightfully theirs. Since the current Israeli government first came to power in late 2022, you will likely hear references to the idea of Greater Israel much more frequently in the media. But most of all,
critics said this.
a coalition of 31 Arab and Muslim countries strongly condemned the statements made by the Israeli Prime Minister. They described it as a direct threat to Arab national security, the sovereignty of countries, and both regional and global peace. But those who wanted Israel to stop had said, remember, in 2024, a video of Israel's finance minister also surfaced in which he was at the Israeli border. Israel was talking about expanding it so that Syria's capital Damascus would also be included. His logic was that it is written that the future of Jerusalem is to expand up to Damascus. He said that gradually, Israel will not only take over all Palestinian territories but also parts of Jordan, Lebanon, Egypt, Syria, Iraq, and Saudi Arabia. It could even spread to parts of these countries before anyone realizes it. Even before this, in 2023, during a memorial service in Paris, the idea of Greater Israel had been presented. There he was speaking while standing in front of a map that included Jordan as part of Israel's territory. Let's also take a look at how much land Israel has already occupied so far in order to realize the dream of Greater Israel, to see how much of it is imaginary and how much is factual today. Israel began in 1948 via the British-Palestine Mandate. This mandate was established after World War I and the United Kingdom's occupation of Palestine. This mandate defined the geographical boundaries of Israel. Following the conclusion of the British Mandate, during the 1948 Arab-Israeli War, the State of Israel captured nearly the entire territory of Mandatory Palestine. Outside the West Bank and Gaza Strip, it controlled the area. Israel then began to expand its territory. In 1967, Israel defeated the Arab forces and expanded further. It defeated them and Israel took control of the West Bank and Gaza. Along with that, it also captured the Sinai Peninsula from Egypt and the Golan Heights in Syria. Since then, Israel has continued to occupy Palestinian and Syrian land, disregarding international law. Aside from the Sinai Peninsula, returned to Egypt in 1982, and in recent years it is important to recognize that this specific set of circumstances is not unique to them alone. We can clearly observe very similar patterns and historical developments unfolding right across the borders in many of their neighboring countries throughout the region today.
Sovereignty is the supreme authority and absolute power of a state to govern itself independently, free from any external interference in its internal affairs.
At stake. This is clearly visible to anyone who truly wants to see it. Whenever and wherever they get the slightest opportunity, they aggressively seize more land to fulfill the long-held dream of Greater Israel. And in this ambitious Greater Israel project, there is only one single country that possesses the necessary strength and the unwavering determination to stand up to Israel and to finally stop Israel's expansion. That's why, for this task, they have been searching for an American president for many years. A number of presidents have been targeted by this attempt to influence some president to attack Iran. Finally, they found a useful Donald Trump who did Israel's bidding. Now, after getting entangled with Iran, even Donald Trump himself is wondering, man, why did I get involved in this Iran war? What am I getting out of it? Now, even Americans can clearly see that their country is being run by Israel. Their president is a puppet of Israel. Israel's welfare is considered before their own welfare, but for Israel's sake. Now, the planning is not just limited to land occupation, the plan is even bigger than that. Even if the dream of greater Israel is not fulfilled, there is an even more ambitious goal. In Jerusalem, there is what is called the holy spot, the earth. In Jerusalem, there is the foundation stone, the stone to which the Jews are connected. Number 2, according to Jewish tradition and belief, the entire world began at this very location which they refer to as the Temple Mount. This sacred site is where there used to stand a magnificent holy temple that was tragically destroyed twice throughout the course of history, the first of these being the first temple, also known as Solomon's Temple. The Babylonians destroyed it. The second temple existed from 515 BCE to 70 AD, and it was destroyed by the Romans. After the advent of Christianity, the site of the second temple is now occupied by the Al-Aqsa complex, which includes the Al-Aqsa Mosque itself, considered the third holiest site in Islam. Muslims believe this is the place from where Prophet Muhammad ascended to heaven. This structure was built by the Umayyad Caliph Abd al-Malik. Arrival: Marwan had it constructed between 691 and 692 CE. Today, only one small part of the ancient Second Temple remains standing. Located within the Al-Aqsa Mosque compound, it is known globally as the Western Wall or the Wailing Wall. This is the very place where you will frequently see Israeli and American politicians visiting and bowing their heads in solemn prayer. After the Israeli occupation of Jerusalem began in 1967, this site has continuously remained a focal point of great significance. For many Israelis, this sacred site is regarded as the specific location where the third Jewish temple should be built. And according to many hardline Zionist groups, the third temple cannot be built until the Al-Aqsa Mosque is demolished and the entire compound is ritually purified. For many consecutive decades now, this location has been carefully managed and governed under an international arrangement that grants it the exclusive status of an Islamic religious shrine. Although it is true that mainstream Jewish religious leaders have traditionally opposed the idea of the Third Temple, nevertheless, over the course of the past few decades, the demand to demolish the mosque and build the Third Temple has continued to receive religious and political support. But according to traditional Jewish scholarship, the Third Temple can only be built when the Messiah finally comes and initiates the kingdom of God. And Netanyahu's recent press conference makes it very clear that he is indeed working in this specific direction.
And class, he has stood firmly against Iran in many ways, and in ways that would be revealed to the world at a much later stage. And I can say that the nation of Israel is significantly stronger and much more resilient than it has been in the past. We need to recognize this, and I believe we all recognize the fact that we will eventually reach the glorious kingdom and will make it to the reign of the Messiah. This will not happen, however, on this very day.
To Nitin, it seems that absolutely everyone is incredibly eager to discuss this at the very center of the debate. Bringing all cultures together in the context of the Messiah is a positive and constructive development, but in all this, what exactly is America's interest? Some have a religious angle while others seem to have a distinctly political perspective. Many Christians that let us answer this question in Christianity. They are Amer. If they have to take some extreme steps for that, so be it. I am honestly getting quite sick and tired of all these Christians saying we
should really be at peace with Islam. Islam is a satanic death cult, and they would decapitate you without hesitation before I even said amen in this sermon if they had a chance to. What they ought to do is evacuate up there on the hill, and get a great big missile and completely obliterate that wicked dome of the rock clean off the spot where it's standing right now. So we can finally see that third temple fully rebuilt and us.
However, it is also abundantly clear and evident that politics is very much involved in this complex situation. It is certainly not just a matter of religion alone. During a significant 2018 official public statement delivered in the United States, Pete Hegseth told the gathered attendees that Donald Trump is the absolute best and most effective leader for your specific interests, suggesting that Donald Trump's leadership style and his administration's policies represent a major historic turning point for the entire movement. He described it as a religious war, saying that this would be a defining moment for many years to come and that Trump would always stand with them.
What we are facing right now is a moment of decision that will determine the entire course of the future, maybe for generations.
So, to what extent has this conflict become a religious war? According to reports, some Israeli soldiers and some American soldiers even wear patches of the Third Temple on their uniforms, and Israeli soldiers have been seen putting banners about the conquest of Al-Aqsa on their military vehicles. But the clearest indication of this is that the first target of the US and Israel in this war was Ayatollah. He was not only the head of state of Iran, but also a religious leader. He was considered the leader of Shia Muslims around the world, and he was assassinated during the month of Ramadan. Was there actually any serious thought given to the consequences of this? Would this create resentment among Muslims around the world, especially Shia Muslims? Could this lead to new conflicts that might spread for decades because of this? Such things could happen. Or was the intention to start new conflicts? Is this the reason why Israel carried out false flag operations in some other Middle Eastern countries like Saudi Arabia or Cyprus to escalate the conflict with Iran so that all these countries attack Iran, the Middle Eastern countries fight among themselves, kill each other, and then Israel can establish itself as the boss, the master of the entire region? All we can say is, according to experts, according to them, it is now clear that the purpose of this war started by Israel is to kill as many people as possible. Even at the cost of the global economy, that's acceptable if Iran is destroyed. The main goal is to leverage the United States so that Israel can become the dominant regional superpower. After that, they can also devastate the Gulf nations, drag Turkey into the war as well, and finally, to help establish a greater Israel. As a matter of fact, Israel wants Iran and the USA to inflict heavy damage on each other, so that after this war, Israel emerges even stronger and more powerful, and it is even dreaming of taking over West Asia and North Africa. Those individuals who believe in greater Israel and the Third Temple think that all of this will mark the beginning of a new golden age, where there will be Jewish supremacy and the rest of the world's countries will be under its direct influence or total control. Yes, even America has suggested the possibility of this, and Netanyahu himself has pointed this out during the war.
These achievements are significantly elevating the global standing of Israel as a superpower more than ever before. We are becoming a regional superpower, and in many different respects. As a leading global superpower, we have the immense capability to push our way into the future.
When the battle for regional dominance and religious prophecy begin to converge and overlap, conflicts become significantly more complicated, and their far-reaching consequences are not limited to just one region, nor to just one generation. The consequences of such wars can often last for decades and be felt for centuries. When it can be done? Jerusalem and Al-Aqsa are not just pieces of land. They are faith, they are identity, they are the center of history. If this conflict has truly become a religious war, then its outcome will not only determine the future of the Middle East. Rather, in the coming times, it could change the course of global politics and global stability. Can this be stopped? Can this disaster, if it is about to happen, can a full stop be put to it? It's possible, but it's difficult. For that, the American public will have to fully wake up and understand how Israel is using them like a mop for its own purposes, how it has made their president into its mere puppet. Then it might be possible that Israel's advancing steps, this construction of greater Israel, could be postponed for now. It's difficult but not impossible. Israel's expansion might stall. Be sure to subscribe to the channel.